In this video we'll be going over the do-while loop in C#. So the do-while loop is a post-test loop, which means it performs an iteration before testing its Boolean expression. So we learned before that the while loop and the for loop are pre-test loops. Which means they test their Boolean expression before performing an iteration. So post-test obviously would mean that it performs an iteration after. So this means that it performs an iteration before testing its Boolean expression. So it tests the condition after the loop has already executed. So it executes at least once. So if you need a loop to execute at least once, then you can go with the do-while loop. Or you can just set your conditions properly with the other loops. I don't really use a do-while loop, but there's might be a time when you may need to use it. So the do-while loop always performs at least one iteration, even if its Boolean expression is false to start. So that we'll just talk about the general notation. So we just have here this loops in other languages, Java, I believe C. Well, Android has it, obviously, because it uses Java. Well, it can. C. What else have we done on this channel? I think we just done Python. I believe Python may have it as well. Yeah, so I believe it's in a lot of languages, if not most, pretty much all of them. At least the common ones. We'll be working on JavaScript next, but for now, so I'm not sure if it's in JavaScript because I'm currently doing that right now, but I'm just wondering if we've talked about it. I think that's all we've talked about it, so basically it's the same every time. Python may just be using English words, like, actually yeah, there's English words. Yeah, so it's pretty much in every language. So the general notation is do. So it's like do, like this. Then you have your code in here. And then here you say while. So after, underneath the code block, you have your Boolean expression here. So that's the general notation, just like that. It's pretty easy, it's just a while loop, but instead you just say do first and then the condition's at the bottom. So the braces are optional if you only have one statement in the body of the loop. It's always good to use the brackets either way, just in case you want to add more later on. I think there's actually supposed to be a semicolon here, sorry about that. So don't forget about that, you just need a semicolon. That's a tricky one to remember, but you won't lose too many marks if you're taking that in school for a semicolon. Well, if you have a strict professor, you may lose half a mark for that, but you probably will, yeah, half a mark at the most, I guess. Well, I guess you could lose a whole mark, depends on your professor, but you won't lose too much. So that's a tricky one to remember because most conditionals don't have a semicolon on the end of a conditional. So let's just have a note here. Semicolon at the end of the Boolean conditional in the do while loop. So it's a post-test loop. Whoops. Post-test loop, unlike the pre-test loop, or loops. I believe it's the only post-test loop that at least that comes with, that's built into C#. You could probably create your own, but actually I'm not sure if you can. You could probably, there's probably some way to do it, but commonly there's no. I believe it's the only post-test loop. You should always be able to convert a while to a do while, I think. Let's just see here. So once again, the do while loop always performs at least one iteration, even if the expression is false to begin with. So that's probably, you'll probably see that as a true or false question on a test. So the do while loop always performs at least one iteration, even if its Boolean condition is false. So let's have an example here. So this is actually an example of a while loop showing that it won't execute. Int val points to 1, while val is less than 0. Messagebox.show val.toString. So as you can see here, what happened there? As you can see, this will not execute because val points to 1 and the condition is while val is less than 0, while val is greater than 0 in this case, so this statement doesn't get executed. So the loop is skipped. So let's just show how this compares to a do while loop. And the fact that it actually executes at least once. Let's just say I have this divider here to divide the code. So let's just say we have the same thing, int val points to 1, do, so here we'll say messagebox.show val.toString, and then after that, while val is less than 0 with the semicolon. Microsoft Docs seem to be putting it up here. Here is fine. I would just rather put it there. That works. You can do it like that if you really want to. That may just be the author of this Canadian curriculum book, but it is based off the docs, the Microsoft Docs. But that might be true, because Ryder seems to be formatting it similarly to this person that's written some of these notes. But that is, I think that's Gladys, Gladdis, if you're interested in that C# book. So pretty much Ryder seems to be spacing out these ifs and do's. If you noticed, the conditions often like this, spaced out. The docs seem to be doing that too. I don't like that. I'd rather just keep it like this. It's up to you whether you want them to be spaced out or not. I'd rather just keep everything like this and have my while down here, so it's up to you whatever style you like. Once again, you're writing the code, so it's up to you. As long as it works, then you can design the code however you want, whatever feels the most comfortable. So in this block of code compared to this block of code, this block executes at least once because this is a post-test loop, which means that the Boolean condition is tested after, and the do while loop, which means that it executes at least once even if the Boolean condition is false. So int val points to 1, so do message box.show val.toString while val is less than 0. So since while val is greater than 0, it doesn't loop back up here and execute again. It exits because it only iterates once, so it's kind of tricky to remember, but that's just it. That's pretty much it. So we'll just end the video here. So in the next video, we'll be moving on to some more complicated stuff, using files for data storage. So thanks for watching, guys. If you guys liked the video, you can like and subscribe to the channel for more programming and investing tutorials, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care.